Okay, now that we have solved inequalities, now we are going to go to solving absolute value equations and inequalities. I'm going to talk about equations today, inequalities tomorrow, so that these lessons aren't too long. So, absolute value. We should know when we see those bars, the absolute value of a number is the distance from 0. So, if I have 3 here, the absolute value of 3, it's 3 spaces from 0. If I have negative 3 here, it's also 3 spaces from 0. So the absolute value of 3 is 3. The absolute value of negative 3 is 3. You don't want to be like, oh, it's always positive. What you want to remember is it's the distance from 0. And you always do what's inside those bars. So where this comes up with an equation. So if I said to you, solve this equation, the absolute value of x is equal to 4. Well, I'm looking for a number that's 4 spots from 0, I'm sorry. Well, 4 is 4 spots from 0. Negative 4 is also 4 spots from 0. So if I think, well, what can this thing inside here be? It could be 4. It could also be negative 4. So I'm not going to get one answer. I'm actually going to get 2 answers. So what I have up here is there's 2 answers, so I need 2 equations. So I sort of have this as a sort of flow chart type of thing. If you're given an absolute value equation to solve, so we have an equation, equal sign. What you want to do first is isolate the absolute value. Get it on a side by itself. If there's a number in front of the absolute value, you do not distribute. They're not like parentheses. Absolute value bars have meaning. So if you were going to have a number in front, you would actually divide by that number to get the absolute value alone. Then, second step, you think of that thing inside. That thing inside can equal 2 things, just like before. It could be 4 or it could be negative 4. So that thing inside could equal C or it could equal negative C. Because when I take the absolute value, it's going to give me C. So you write those 2 equations. You do not put the bars. Solve each equation. So it's 2 different equations you're solving. Check your answers in the original problem. You can have these things called extraneous solutions, which you're going to see all year. What those are false solutions. You did all the math correctly, but if you plug them in, it actually doesn't come out true. So, example, absolute value of 5x minus 10 equals 45. First step, get the absolute value alone. It's alone. So, this thing inside, that thing could equal 45, or it could equal negative 45. No absolute value bars. Solve each equation. Add 10, 5x equals 55. Divide by 5. X is 11. Now, the fact that you got 11 here does not mean you're going to get a negative 11. You get different numbers. The positive and the negative is here when we set it up. So now I have 5x equals negative 35. Divide by 5, negative 7. And again, you check. If you check 5 times 11 is 55, minus 10 is 45. If I take the absolute value of that, I get 45. If I check negative 7, 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. Minus 10 is negative 45. But if I take the absolute value of that, that is going to give me 45. This same thing, I don't think I need to do that one. This is just sort of to go over this idea of extraneous solutions, which are false solutions. So you can have this happen where you think, oh, it's going to come out true, and it doesn't. So just to show you this, you can have an equation with x's on both sides. Absolute value is on a side by itself. It's ready. Set up two equations. This thing inside could equal 6x, or it could equal negative 6x. Solve them. I'm going to subtract 4x here and get 2x equals 10. Divide by 2, get 5. Here I'm actually going to, I guess I'm going to subtract 4x just because I'd be left with 0. So I'd have 10 equals negative 10x. Divide by negative 10, I get negative 1. Now go back and check. So I'm checking in the original. 4 times 5 plus 10 is 30. The other side, 6 times 5 is 30. And that would have been the absolute value on the left. The absolute value of 30 is equal to 30. Check. Here, 4 times negative 1 plus 10 would be the absolute value of 6 equals 6 times negative 1, which is negative 6. The absolute value of 6 does not equal negative 6, so that is an extraneous solution. It doesn't work. It's false. So that is what solving equations is. There's a short little assignment, probably about 10 questions, solving absolute value equations on delta math. You'll have another video tomorrow on inequalities.